NATO Secretary-General has addressed the conflict between Iran and Israel ahead of the bloc summit. He says that Iran must not develop nuclear weapons.
My biggest fear would be for Iran to own and be able to use and deploy a nuclear weapon. It would be a stranglehold on Israel, on the whole region and other parts of the world. And that is why NATO has said Iran should not, and this is a consistent position of NATO, Iran should not have its hands on a nuclear weapon. So, and I would not agree that this is against international law what the US did.
Let's speak to our diplomatic editor, James Bays, who's at The Hague, who's at that press conference. And James, a wide range of topics covered there by Mark Rutte, but saying that NATO has a consistent position over Iran and nuclear weapons.
Yes, remember that Mark Rutte speaks as the Secretary-General of NATO. There are 32 countries, and they do have slightly differing positions on many international issues, so he has to be careful with his words. He was asked, for example, about regime change, and he said it wouldn't be helpful for him to get into whether regime change in Iran was a good or bad idea, because there may well be different views among the NATO members that he needs to represent. He did, though, say that he thought that the attack by the US was consistent with international law, in other words, legal. I have to tell you that many people are questioning that here in The Hague, which is seen as the capital of international justice, the home of the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice. Many are questioning what the US did and whether it was legal under international law. And I put that to the Secretary-General when I asked him to compare what we've seen in recent days with the situation in Ukraine.
Secretary-General, NATO's position for more than 3 years has been very consistent. It's been criticising Russia for breaching the rules-based international order by invading Ukraine. Doesn't all of that seem very hypocritical, given the US's recent actions, which are clearly dubious under international law?
Well, I don't agree with that assessment at all. Obviously, NATO is concentrated on the Euro-Atlantic, but I do not at all, not one syllable of your assessment, sorry, on what you just said. With all the respect, of course, for your news outlet, which I always respect, but I think you have this completely wrong.
Very clear-cut, the NATO Secretary-General dismissing my questions. There are other questions that he dodged, questions about what happens if this further escalates, what happens if Iran was to close the Straits of Hormuz, what would happen if Iran was to attack the NATO training base that exists in Iraq, or if Iran was to attack US military assets in the Gulf and in the Middle East region. Of course, under the North Atlantic Treaty, which is the governing treaty of NATO, there's something called Article 5, the all for one, one for all article in that treaty that says if any NATO ally is attacked, then all would consider it as an attack on themselves. So the question mark, of course, if Iran was to strike out against a US target, would it then find itself at war with all of NATO?
All right, James, thanks very much. James Bays there at The Hague.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.